All right, so I'm at the old train depot, which was Jimmy Carter's campaign office. So cute, it's so small. We'll walk inside in a little bit. So this is where he launched his presidential campaign. I'm assuming around 1975, but let's take a look at the plaque. So, oh, he had a 2-year campaign for president. And it looks like, so he probably, oh yeah, 1975. That's when he started his campaign, and they referred to him as Jimmy Who, because he kind of came out of nowhere. Born October 1st, 1924. So I hope he makes it. If he lives to October 1st this year, he will be 100 years old. So a brief history here of Jimmy Carter. He was 7 years in the Naval Service, and then he came home to run the peanut business. In 1962, he was elected to the Georgia Senate, and then in 1970, he became governor, and after that, obviously, he became president. Successes include resolution of the Panama Canal issue, Camp David Accords, peace treaty between Israel and Egypt, normalizing relations with China, and reorganization of the federal government. Love it. Very historical. So we'll take a look inside at the old train depot. So I'm inside the old train depot, and what I love about this is that it's free. They don't charge anything. You can come in anytime and wander around this historic place. And then there's a picture of him there when he won. That's a nice picture. And a quote from him there. I love that. For too long, political leaders have been isolated from the people. They have made decisions from an ivory tower. Now it is time for this chasm between people and government to be bridged, and for Americans to join in sharing our nation's future. And there's an old picture of the train depot. Presidential campaign headquarters, and I love this. It's a replica of the phone that he got, the call that he was the nominee for and he would have gotten the call here. And I love that. There's a picture of him and his mother right here in this spot when he got the call that he was the nominee for the Democrats that year. That's so great. Another picture of him. And it was a phone just like this. Wow. So at one point, 14 different men competed for the nomination. And he won the Democratic primary in Florida by defeating George Wallace. And in the early morning hours of June 9th, awaiting a message, a call to George Wallace. During that call, which Carter placed from the depot, Wallace conceded defeat and pledged his 250 delegates and future support to to Carter. Wow. Isn't that great? I love it that you can look at an historic picture like that, where his life was about to change, and we are standing right in the same spot. Now when you enter here, you can really see that it's an old train depot, and you get a nice history here. Carter's legacy. I won't read all of this, but it's basically a history of his life. I love that old picture there. And their wedding day in 1946. That's a nice old photo there. Downtown Plains in 1925. I just read that the population of Plains today is only about 600, so it's still a very small town. All right, I'm inside the train depot. So Carter won November 2nd, 1976. I love this old photo of him in Plains. So, wow, it is an old train depot. So you get a nice history here. As I said, I'm not going to read through everything. I guess he really did come from nowhere. I don't think Georgia was a place where most people thought a president would come from, a governor. That's great. I love this old banner. Wow. And it gives you a history of how he won the convention and ended up getting the delegates. Another same picture there, or another picture with him and George Wallace. So I guess he ran against Gerald Ford. Oh yeah, there's an old photo there from the debate. And Walter Mondale, of course, was his running mate. I love this. And then they have an old TV here where you can watch old footage.
Jimmy who?
Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy who?
I don't know who he is.
Jimmy Carter's basketball player, isn't he?
Well, I got nothing against him. Looks to me it's all right. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's Democrat, yeah.
He's a people's man. He's sexy?
Wait a minute now.
What do you mean by that?
I've never thought of Jimmy Carter as sexy. I think that if it comes down to it, people would say more that Gerald Ford is sexy because he was a football player. Carter sexy? Yeah, I just think he's a very neat man.
Yeah, I think he has a nice smile. How do you do?
With his bushy hair flying all around. I heard he was a peanut farmer.
I don't think it makes any difference, I mean, whether he's a peanut farmer or not. I mean, there's nothing wrong with peanuts as far as I'm concerned.
I picture him like one of us. One of the working people, one of the common people.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you the next President of the United States, Jimmy Carter.
Sometimes introductions are hard to follow. I remember about 5 years ago when I was running for governor. And the young man who introduced me had done a great deal of work on my background, and he got up and said, we have with us tonight, at that time, Senator Jimmy Carter from Plains, Georgia. He went to Georgia Southwestern College where he studied chemistry. And then he said he went to Georgia Tech where he studied engineering. And then he pointed out that I had gone to the U.S. Naval Academy and received a degree in naval science. And then he said he went to Union College in Schenectady, New York, where he did his graduate work in nuclear physics. And now he said he grows peanuts for a living.
Jimmy Carter's roots go deep into the dark red soil of southwest Georgia. He was born near the small farming town of Plains, but like many young people, decided against continuing the family tradition. Eventually, he ended a promising career as a naval officer to return to the land, resuming the work of his parents and their parents before them.
My children will be the 6th generation of the same land.
And although I got a good chance to get an education as an engineer and scientist, nobody in my family before my generation ever had a chance to finish high school. We've always worked for a living. We know what it means to work.
The determination, the self-discipline, the pure exertion that helped Jimmy Carter build a successful farming business would also see him through a punishing campaign. A campaign that was marked in the beginning by loneliness. There were no reporters, no cameras, no Secret Service nearby when Jimmy first walked up and introduced himself to countless voters. This style was unheard of for a presidential hopeful, but for Jimmy Carter, there was no other way.
I want to be tested in the most severe possible way. I can't think of any more severe way than campaigning 250 days this year outside of Georgia, while entering 31 different primaries. I want the people of this country to know my character, my strengths and my weaknesses, my stand on the issues. If I can measure up to what the American people want our government to be, I'll be elected.
Jimmy Carter from Georgia. I hope to be next president.
So it's an empty building now, but back in 1976, this was a very busy place. And we'll show a shot here of people sitting along the side here of the train depot. It's a quiet place now, but it wasn't back then. Back then it was full of activity. To elect the what did that one sign say? The man with the grin will win. He did have quite a smile. One more look at the train tracks. And look how close Billy Carter's service station is. Everything is so close here. And as I think I said already, I don't know what the population was in 1976, but the population now is right around 600. So it was a small town then, and it still is a small town. I hope you enjoyed that little tour of the campaign headquarters of Jimmy Carter in 1975 when he started and then got elected in 76. I love it. It's small, but it's basically open to the public for free. And I love the old TV there where they have the film about his life before he got elected. So thanks for watching. We'll be seeing ya.